In the Premier League last season, we really did lack a proper title race and a proper relegation battle. Will we get that this season? We're going to be discussing my Premier League predictions going into next season, where I think around every single team will be placing in the Premier League this season. If you're a fan of Premier League content, then please do drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel as well. If you like Premier League content, if you wouldn't mind dropping me a subscribe, it'd be very greatly appreciated. We're very, very close to 1,000 subscribers. If you wouldn't mind helping me get there by clicking that subscribe button, as I say, it only takes 1 second and you won't regret hitting that subscribe button. So please do help me out, and let's jump straight into this. So we've got multiple different tiers here. We've got Champions, we've got Champions League, then we've got Europa League, Conference League, then mid-table, and then 13th to 17th, and then 18th to 20th teams that I think will get relegated. So I'll rattle through each team and then give my opinion on how I think they're going to do over the course of this season. Now we're going to start off with Bournemouth, where we're going to put them in the 8th to 12th section. They finished around a similar position in that kind of 8 to 12 region for the majority of the season. Very good, very nearly got Europa Conference League football as well at some point, but obviously in the end, 8th place didn't end up getting that Europa Conference League due to the fact of all them cup competitions. But I think Bournemouth will be in and around that kind of spot. They've got a very good team. They've got some very good players going forward. Evan Nilsson's a very good striker. They managed to replace Solanke excellently, in my opinion, with Evan Nilsson, who really does bring a lot to that Bournemouth team. Clivett did drop off towards the end of the season, but there was a spell where this guy was literally unplayable, genuinely one of the best players in the Premier League. We'll see what kind of happens with transfers and outgoings. They've also brought back a guy as well from, his loans finished from Lorient. This striker is only 18 years old. I think his name's Krupi, something like that. But he looks like a very good player, and only 18 years old, he could definitely be one to watch out for this season and could potentially get some minutes for Bournemouth. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they got on this season. And Bournemouth under Iraola, top manager. I expect them to have another decent season, to be honest. Very well-run club. And obviously they sold Huijsen, which is going to be a bit... obviously it's a big gap to fill. They're probably going to have to replace that, but I think Bournemouth will be absolutely fine. They always recruit well, and these days they're a very good Premier League club. Right, Arsenal next. I'm not going to say they're going to win the title. I'm going to put Arsenal in 2nd to 4th. It looks like they're looking at Sesko up front. They obviously need a striker. And they've obviously a very solid back line. You've got Saliba, Gabriel. Hopefully Gabriel can stay fit throughout the whole of the season. They've got a good core, of course. They need to add a couple of players if they really want to make a title push. Could they be up there for the title? Definitely. Do I think they're actually going to be able to do it? No. Even if they're at the top with 10 games to go, they'll probably end up finding their way to bottle it. So Arsenal, 2nd to 4th. Arteta's done a very good job, but he needs trophies this season. Seriously, he needs something. Even if it's a Carabao Cup, it doesn't matter. He needs some kind of trophy this season. Will he win the Premier League? Personally, I do not think so. Aston Villa. Now, well, 5th to 6th is actually Champions League, so that really should be changed, to be fair. I'm going to put Aston Villa in 5th. I think with the fact that they got Europa League is... Obviously, it's not ideal for them, because obviously the finances and that kind of situation isn't going to be ideal for them in terms of kind of FFP. But I do still think Aston Villa will have a very good season. Obviously, they've got a good squad as it is. There's a lot of good players and a lot of talented players. Obviously, players have gone back from loan as well. You know, Rashford, who came in and did pretty well in the second half of the season, to be fair. Asensio as well. So, they are going to have to... I mean, if they're not going to be able to spend a lot of money, I don't really know what the kind of transfer situation is with them. Obviously, only getting Europa League, it would have helped them a lot getting that Champions League football. But I think Aston Villa 5th to 6th, I think that'll be a kind of a whereabouts they'll finish, similar to where they were literally this season just gone. Brighton now. Brighton always recruit well, don't they, under Hertzler? I'm going to have to go 8th to 12th. I think they're going to be in that kind of region again. I don't think they're going to be able to push up, in my opinion. They've got a very, very good team. I mean, all these teams are so strong, by the way. You look at every single team from like 17th upwards. They're actually decent teams. So Brighton I'm going to put in the 8th to 12th section. As I say, Hertzler's now got that first experience in the Premier League. He had a bit of a tough spell, kind of like at the end of last year, but he got through it, and Brighton did all right in the end. So I think Hertzler did a very good job overall, and as I say, he's got an experience now. We've got a Premier League experience now for a season, which is only going to benefit him because obviously he's such a young coach as well. Brentford, we're going to go 13th to 17th. It's looking like Mbeumo is going to be off. They've just signed Kelleher, or it looks like they're about to sign Kelleher, which is a top signing. Mbeumo leaving is a bit of a problem for Brentford. Obviously, you saw how many goals he scored, like 19 Premier League goals, something silly like that. They're going to struggle to replace them goals, but Brentford always find a way to still be decent. Like, they lost Tony, became a better team, arguably. They're now losing Mbeumo. They've still got Vissa, they've still got goals with him. I do think Brentford could be in a little bit of trouble, but I don't think they'll be in enough trouble to get relegated. I think they'll be in kind of around that 13th to 17th mark. Burnley, sorry Burnley fans, I'm supporting the newly promoted team this season. I want them to stay up, but Burnley, I just don't see how it's going to happen. You've got Josh Brownhill, who potentially might not be signing a new deal. Egan Riley looks to be on his way as well. That's two key players for Burnley. You can't be losing your key players when you get promoted. I'm seeing some players that are getting linked. Matt Targett getting linked. Not great, is it really? It's just a very meh transfer. I think another guy who used to live at Birmingham's getting linked. He plays over in the French league now. He's getting linked again. Never played in the Premier League. And he's played in English football. He's literally played in the Championship. He's only a young lad, but Burnley need ready-made Premier League players if they want to survive. And Matt Targett, you could probably argue is, but he's another player that's not really played in the last few years. So I think Burnley will be nailed on for relegation. I'm sorry to say it. And they might lose James Trafford as well. Defensively, if they kept everyone together, they will have a solid outfit defensively. But as I say, Trafford might be on his way. Egan Riley might be on his way. Not ideal at all. Chelsea, I'm going to put Chelsea in 5th to 6th. I really do think they stumbled there. They did alright towards the back end of the season, the last few games, but overall in the year of 2025, I don't think Chelsea looked too great at all, to be honest. They got obviously some very good players. Cole Palmer fell off a little bit, so it fell off massively in the second half of the season, really, overall. Caicedo is obviously a top player. They've got a lot of quality, but I do just think, will they be able to get into that top 4? I'm not so sure. They'll be battling out for 5th and 6th, in my opinion. It will be quite close, but I don't think Chelsea will be getting Champions League, in my opinion. I think even Villa could finish above them. I don't know about Maresca. I'm still not 100% sure on him. It's a young squad. We'll see how they get on. I think they'll be up there, but I'm not sure if they can get Champions League or not. They'll be in and around it, in my opinion. Now, Crystal Palace, I'm actually going to put in 13th to 17th. Now, they've got Europa League this season, which is obviously something that they've never had. It's an extra load of fixtures onto what they've already got. Obviously, already a busy Premier League schedule. You now got more fixtures on top of that with cup competitions and the Europa League on that, which I do think they could go quite far in. I do think they can definitely compete and at least get to the knockout stages, and then we'll see from there. So they're going to have kind of one eye on that throughout the season. So I do think that's going to affect them a little bit. What's going to happen with Eze? Is Eze going to leave? Mark Gahey as well. They've got a lot of talented players in that squad as well, which, we could potentially move on. And then they've got some also just very good players in the team overall, as I say. Like Lacroix done very well in his first season there. Ismail Assar was fantastic bringing him in. Really underrated piece of business from Crystal Palace. They didn't even spend that much money on him as well. Obviously you got Mateta as well. You got a very, very strong team there for Crystal Palace. But as I say, I do think they'll have one eye on the Europa League, which could affect their league performance. Now, Everton, again, I'm going to put into that bracket in the 13th to 17th. I do always worry about Everton with their kind of goal scoring. Do they have enough goal scorers in the side? Do they have someone that can really put the ball in the back of the net consistently enough? Beto did pretty well, to be fair, when he came into the side. Under David Moyes especially did very well. But I'm not too confident in Everton going forward. David Moyes is a safe pair of hands. I don't think they'll get relegated, but I do think they'll be in that kind of region of 13th to 17th. Now, Fulham. I'm going to go Fulham in again into 8th to 12th. Maybe drop them down a little bit. I think Marco Silva's a very good coach. I see Spurs maybe linked with him. But Marco Silva, very good coach. And Fulham, just a decent Premier League outfit. Again, nothing too special, but they're just a very decent Premier League team. We'll see what happens if Anthony Robinson stays. I'd imagine he will, because Anthony Robinson is getting on a little bit now. And overall, they've got some good players going forward as well. Need to see a bit more from some players. Like Smith Rowe came and started really well and then struggled in the second half of the season. But overall, I think they'll be fine. They do need a few signings, in my opinion, Fulham, if they want to kind of push on. But I think they'll be absolutely fine for Premier League safety again, because they're a decent team. Now, Leeds United. Do I put them in 17th? Do I put Leeds in 17th? I'm just looking at the other team and thinking, who could I put in there? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to back Leeds. Out of pure optimism. Leeds are the team I'm supporting this season. I want Leeds to stay up. I'm under the impression that Leeds are going to be spending a lot of money. And they're going to need to spend a lot of money. Because that squad in the Premier League just isn't good enough. They got 100 points in the Championship, fantastic. In the Premier League, it's completely different level. So we're going to need a lot of transfers from Leeds, but I'm going to back Leeds with the home atmosphere as well. They're going to do all they can, and there's no doubt in my mind they're going to be more competitive than what the other three relegated teams were last season: the Ipswich, the Leicester, and the Southampton. They're going to be a lot more competitive, in my opinion. Leeds United will be. So I'm going to put Leeds United in 17th. Call me crazy, but we're going to go for it. Right, Liverpool. We are going to go. I've got to go Liverpool champions. I'm looking at the business that they're doing. Obviously, they've already brought in Frimpong, ready-made replacement for Trent. Obviously, it is going to be a massive miss, them not having Trent. Florian Wirtz as well, looking like he's probably going to make his way into the team by the end of the transfer window. Kirkez as well, and they're already a joke. You can say the players are getting a year older like Van Dijk, like Salah, but they're still absolutely ridiculous players, and it's just the whole mentality that these players have. Like Mo Salah, just doesn't stop, does he? He just doesn't stop, and I can't see him stopping again. I don't know if he'll be able to replicate the season that he's had this season, but I still think his level will still be so high, and I think Liverpool will go on to win the league. I really do. Now, Manchester City, I'm putting them in the title race, but I don't think they'll get there. I don't know about Pep. I don't know what in the last 12 months. It really just feels like things have kind of come apart for City. The transfers that they've made, questionable transfers. They've not really made the mark. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time with some Pep signings so they really understand the way that he wants them to play. You've seen players come in first season, not do great, and then do really well from seasons onwards, which could very well be the case. But the signings have been a bit questionable. Pep's been a bit questionable overall. We'll see. I think Man City will be up there, but I don't think they'll be able to win the league. But they are going to give it a good go. Obviously, it looks like they're going to be signing Cherky, which is a very good deal. Could be really good under Pep Guardiola. They're signing Aït-Nouri potentially as well. They need a left back because they're playing Gvardiol at left back. They've been O'Reilly at left back as well. They need a full-on out-and-out left back or wing back in Aït-Nouri, to be fair. He'll be absolutely bombing on that Man City team. Will be quite good to see how he gets on. Man United, relegation. Right, if they sign in Bournemouth, we'll bump them up. We'll bump them up to 17th, maybe 16th. We'll probably swap them with Brentford. But I'm going to say United are going to get relegated. Out of pure optimism and for banter. Relegate them. I'd love to see it. And is it absolutely out of the question? No, but I also might want to put Spurs in there. With Spurs being in Champions League football, they're going to be distracted. Right, we'll go on to the next team anyway. Newcastle United. I'm gonna say they're going to invest because they're going to need to. They obviously got Champions League. Last time they had Champions League, they didn't do what their kind of league position did get sacrificed a little bit. Could that happen again? I'm not so sure. They've got to go. They've got to be getting Champions League if they want to keep Isak again. If they are going to keep him, they've got to be getting Champions League. I'm going to put Newcastle in that bottom Champions League spot in 4th, or maybe they could be 5th. I do think Newcastle will get Champions League. I think they'll do it back-to-back seasons. Nottingham Forest. I'm gonna have to rearrange this, by the way, because I'm looking at this and thinking this might have to change. Nottingham Forest, I think they're going to drop off. Right, we're going to go. Ooh, what do we do here? We'll have to move a few teams up here because this isn't right. We're going to go. Oh, we're not going to go Brentford. We're going to go Palace up to 12th because they always finish 12th. Everton Forest, yeah, I think Forest will be in that kind of section. I just don't. They've obviously got Conference League now as well. They've got a good team. But could the wheels come off with Nuno? I'm doubting them. I don't want to doubt them because I like Forest, but I'm going to doubt them. Now Spurs, right, this is going to change. Spurs are going to go in the 8th to 12th, and we're going to whack Bournemouth up to Conference League because I actually rate Bournemouth. Right, Sunderland next up, relegation. Sorry, Sunderland fans, I want you to stay up again. There's just too much to do. Realistically, in the Championship, at the end of the season, I can't forget the back end of the season. They lost to QPR and we're bang average. They lost to us. I know it was the last game of the season, didn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, but I was very disappointed with Sunderland watching them play in the last few games. Obviously performed well in the playoffs. They got the result. They really did have their backs against the wall at times in games, especially the Coventry match. But I think Sunderland just weren't enough in the Premier League. They're going to need to invest a lot just to even stand a chance. I don't think Sunderland will be able to do it, unfortunately. Now West Ham, I've got to put them in that kind of section, 13 to 17. They've got to go in there. But Wolves are also going to have to go in there as well. So we're going to actually have to move some teams about here. We'll have to move Forest up and then Wolves into there. And I'm going to put Leeds 17th, West Ham 16th, no, Wolves 16th, West Ham 15th, Everton 13th, Brentford, yeah. I think that's right. I think that's what I'm going to go for. Yeah, I like that. That's what we're going to go for. Liverpool's title winners. Champions League, I reckon, will be Arsenal, obviously with Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle, and Aston Villa will get 5th, in my opinion. Chelsea 6th, Bournemouth 7th, and then kind of the 8th, the chasing pack will be Brighton, Fulham, Palace, and we're going to go to Palace for Spurs. Spurs there, Palace, Forest, Everton, Brentford, West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Man United, yes, Man United, Burnley, and then Sunderland. That's going to be our early predictions. Obviously, it's going to change when the transfer window gets on. But let me know what you think of that in the comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed. If you're a Premier League fan, please hit subscribe. As I say, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Please do help me out. Help me get to that 1,000 mark. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.